deep down, actually not even deep down, on the surface, I love big American pickup trucks. I know they're a bit ridiculous if you live in the city and if you live in certain situations where tight parking and so on, this just does not make sense. But if you live out in the sticks, like here, there's nothing wrong with this. Like I can park it on the road. I don't need to park in a tight spot. And I've got big country roads where I can enjoy the big engine. This is the Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, 2024, 2025. There is an update coming actually. So we'll call it a 2024, but you can still buy this right now in 2025. This has got the Z71 pack. So it's got all the black badges and trimmings and so on. Lots of chrome, being American. Neat 20-inch alloy wheels. They're wrapped in 275/60 all-terrain tires. They're Bridgestone Jeweler. Pretty aggressive tread pattern there. Big chrome side step. This is not going to be excellent off-road, in some technical situations anyway, because the breakover angle is just going to be ridiculous. And at the back, we've got a fully electric cover, as well as a electronic tailgate. To open the cover, you just use this remote here, and it slides open. Huge loading space here. It stretches almost 1,800 millimeters deep. You can easily fit a motorbike or mountain bikes or whatever you want in there. Fit most of your household furniture in here as well. You've got some tie-down hooks, including at the top and bottom at the front and at the bottom at the front, which is great. It means you can tie things down to the bed. You've got a little light there as well, but there's no power socket in the back. You do have a spray-in bed liner, so this is all pretty durable stuff. And then to flick up the tailgate, you just pull it about halfway and it takes it the rest of the way. Convenient little steps in the side there, so you can easily just step up and grab something out of the middle if you need to. But yeah, overall practicality and carrying stuff, this is a machine at that. It does have a 4.5 ton towing capacity, but the tow ball download maximum is 422 kilograms. So if you go off the usual 10%, you're left with around 4.2 tons, unless you upgrade the tow ball to a more beefy setup. Speaking about the towing, I'll just run you through some figures. I'm just reading off my phone because there's a lot of different things we need to calculate here. The GVM is 3,300 kilograms. The curb weight is 2,543. So if you take that GVM minus 422 kilograms, because that'll be the max towing, 10% of the max towing, and then minus the curb weight, as well as minus a driver, so me, 80 kilograms, you're left with around 255 kilograms, which is not that impressive compared with all the other diesel 4-cylinder utes. They're around the same as well. Ranges from around 150 to 250 kilograms left on your GVM. The GCM, the gross combination mass, that's the total weight of everything added up, the maximum, is 7,160 kilograms. But you can't ever hit that because you run into the GVM first. Let me just try to explain that. If you add the curb weight and the max towing of 4.5 tons, you've got 7,043 kilograms. So you're, not far off the GCM already, about 100 kilograms short already. That's without a passenger on board. So you can see that these they do tow a lot, but you've just got to be careful of all of the figures. At the end of the day, if you want to tow a 3.5 ton trailer, compared with the smaller diesel ute rivals, this will do it easily, and you'll have over a ton of leftover, but also the stability is going to be greater in something like this because this already weighs 2.5 tons. So driving along, it's going to be much more stable. Forgetting about the payloads and everything, these things, a better option, I reckon, if you're planning to tow 3.5 tons or more. Even though practically you cannot really tow 4.5 tons with this, it just gives you an idea of how much space you've got or room to move. Also, you've got the engine. It's a 6.2 litre petrol V8, good old Chevy small block V8, 313 kilograms, 630 odd newton meters of torque. Not a crazy amount of torque, but plenty of power. It sounds really nice. We'll go for a drive in a minute and I'll show you what it's like. Then inside, it's kind of typical Chevy really. It's got a lot of chrome, lots of physical buttons, which is great. All of your climate control down there, and even some driving options along the bottom of the screen. Digital instrument cluster, and you've got your auto, 2H, 4H, and 4 low driving modes. One of the reasons why I love these things is when you drive them, they're just so big. It's like it's like a cartoon car. It just makes you laugh even just sitting in it. Like, I've got so much room in here. The dashboard is really chunky. The bonnet is way over there. It just feels like I'm driving this big slab of a thing. And even the center console here, it's huge. Lift up the lid and you've got this massive bucket underneath, some trays there. Like, you couldn't possibly need more storage. Adjustable cup holders, I like that. So it holds your cup no matter what the size is. Yeah, I think if you want something big, then this is definitely going to suit that for sure. The driving position is good. I've got plenty of adjustment. Steering wheel goes up and down and in and out. I can raise the seat right up if I want to. My head's nowhere near the ceiling. Even if I was a normal height person, you still wouldn't get close to that. Like, this is definitely as big as it gets. Same goes for in the back. Sorry about the state of the interior. I had my kids in here over the weekend, went for a little bit of a drive, but I've got some shots that I prepared earlier to show you what it's like. Plenty of room back here. It feels like I'm in a limousine. That's literally my seating position just there, the front seat. Look at my legs. They're not even close. Like, I can almost extend them out straight out. Like, that's a ridiculous amount of room. Sitting in the middle, the cushioning is a bit firmer. It's not quite as comfortable as the outer seats, but I've definitely got heaps of room. Cup holders, multiple charging options, climate vents, and even heated seats for the outer passengers. Yet more cup holders from a flip down center armrest. You do have the loop through system for the power for the baby seat, so you've got to go through the strap there and then to the bracket in the middle, which is a little bit disappointing. But you do have these little clever cubby holes in the back of the seat, so you've got some extra storage there. Yeah, it's massive. We'll go for a drive now. I'm not going to take it off-road, although I did take it off-road on the weekend just on some light dirt roads and so on. It handles pretty good. The long wheelbase helps with stability and comfort a little bit, just because it's not, you know, bobbling around on little rocks and mounds and so on. It's got the all-terrain tires, but yeah, I think the breakover angle is going to be the weakest point in Australia anyway, where we've got pretty technical tracks over mounds and so on. It will still go really good, but probably not as good as the smaller diesel utes that we have here. A big part of the appeal has got to be the V8 engines. We'll start it up. Yeah, it's got a nice grunty soundtrack. We'll have a proper listen during the performance test later on. I'm averaging 12.6 litres per 100 kilometres. That's after a bit of a trip up on the up the mountains, going up some hill, but then coming back down, obviously. 600 kilometres in total. I think that's okay. The official average is 12.2. So I think you could get a bit lower than that if you just drove on the highway and country roads and so on the flat. But then again, you'd get it much higher than that if you just spent most of your time in the city or just squirting around the place, going up hills and whatever. This touchscreen is got everything you need: Android Auto, Apple CarPlay and all of that. It does have a home button here which takes you to this main menu, and then you've got your trailer settings, so you can hook up the trailer, put the lights on, whatever, use the cameras. Yeah, a lot of functionality here, but it's probably not the best touchscreen in the business just because of the graphics. It's a little bit basic and some of the menus are a little bit confusing. I do like the way you've got the lane keep assist on and off just there. You just turn that off. Not a huge fan of this gear shifter. You've got to push the button in, which is great, but it's kind of just feels a little bit, am I in gear or did I just flick it to neutral? You do have a little symbol down here you can keep an eye on. But yeah, I just probably would rather one that actually moves into a gear rather than just the ratchet style like this. Yeah, it's so big, and it's, I don't know, to me it's fun to drive just because it's so big. It's like driving a truck. You've got that massive bulky section at the front and burbling V8 way back over there somewhere. It's just really entertaining for some reason. See, out on country roads like this, it's fine. It's not intimidating at all to drive, even though it is quite large. It doesn't feel scary. Like I'm not, you know, oh, am I going to stay in the lane or anything? Like it's just cruising along just fine. The steering is actually pretty good. I've got a general sense of what the tires are doing and where the vehicle is placed in the lane. Like in that sense, it's not intimidating. It is large, but it's not intimidating. It doesn't scare me how big it is. I'm aware how big it is. But yeah, on a road like this, you don't have to worry at all. You've just got that big burbling V8 chugging along. The handling is okay. If you compare it to something like a Nissan Patrol or a Toyota Land Cruiser, it's about on par with those. This does have a longer wheelbase though, so you're getting a slight bit better stability and sort of long distance comfort and even handling around long sweeping bends. It's not until you start to attack some twisty bends that, yeah, that long wheelbase is going to show some restriction there, or yeah, constraint. Up hills, yeah, you've got that torque of the V8 just chugging along, 2000 RPM. I'll put my foot down. Awesome noise coming through, picks up speed just fine. I reckon if I was towing a 2-ton trailer or a 2.5 or even 3-ton trailer, it'd probably go pretty much the same, you know, like it's not going to be hindered that much. It's already very heavy as it is. The ride comfort is a little bit better than a typical diesel 4-cylinder ute, and I think that, yeah, the long wheelbase does help there as well. It's still a little bit jiggly, it has to be, it's heavy duty, but I would say this is comfortable for a big long distance drive, especially if you load it up with some people or some cargo. It's going to be even more comfortable. The big tyres also help, no doubt. We've got some potholes and patchy road here, we'll see what that's like. Yeah, it's fine. It's shaking around just a tiny bit, but totally acceptable, and I think a lot of SUVs would be just the same in terms of being heavy duty ladder frame style chassis. Overall though, it just comes back to the enjoyment. I feel really comfortable and relaxed driving this thing in this kind of setting. It's just, I don't know what it is, but it just makes me feel good driving around. It's not even the confidence boost. You know how you see some utes out on the road, they're all black, they've got big chunky tires on them, and they're driving around like they're in a Ferrari or something, trying to overtake everyone even though they've got no power. It's a different kind of confidence. It's, unless you fit big tires to it and make it more macho, just the way it is standard, you don't have to act. This is big and bulky. It's got a V8. It's already there. It's not trying to prove anything, if that makes sense. I don't know. Anyway, I love driving it. I'm sure some people are going to disagree and say that they're useless in Australia, but I think they're quite nice in certain settings. But we'll go out now and do the performance test and see what it goes like, see how that V8 actually performs, and see if it can put the power down to the ground. We'll try it out in 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive as well, just to see the difference. This time in 4-wheel drive auto, still in sport mode.